Hello everyone, I'm NTom64.
Hello, I am ex-gamer Richy.
Hey everyone, this is Karto 1989.
And by, I guess you could say, somewhat popular demand, moderate demand, lukewarm demand, HFC is here today to bring you a sequel playthrough to a game we covered last year, which was Nights into Dreams. This is Nights Journey of Dreams. And we got a new commentator for this one, a new co-com, if you will. So before we hand over to the person who will do all the talking, and by will I mean will definitely do all the talking, Karto, you are our artist, our group artist. Why are you in this playthrough exactly?
Because you didn't let me join the trombone one, even though that's one of my favourite games.
Well.
And Nights is one of my second favourites.
Hang on a second. I didn't ban you from that playthrough. You never showed interest. Well, we're off to a really lovely and passive-aggressive start. But have you actually played this particular tile, mate?
Yes, I have. I played the original game, I really got into that, and when I found out there was a sequel coming out, I was like, okay, I've got to try that.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of generally find it okay, lukewarm, just like the response to the first commentary, apparently.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's got great like CGs as we're seeing here, and a superb soundtrack.
As I mentioned in our Nights into Dreams playthrough, Journey of Dreams has a very, very special place in my heart. It's the first game that I ever did on YouTube. It's the first game that I ever did in relation to HellfireComms, because I sent it into Hellfire playthroughs, and that was the first thing that got me talking to Tom. And then in 2012, once I got my hoppage, I did a rerun of the playthrough, which is actually the footage you're going to be seeing for the majority of the playthrough, because it was just that good.
Alright.
So
Show off.
Pat yourself on the back some more, why don't you?
So it has a very, very special place in my heart, and actually I much prefer Journey of Dreams to Into Dreams, which I know is sacrilege among the Knights community, but really, I just think it's the better game.
Well, you're like the only person I've ever heard put the sequel over the original, but I guess your opinions contrast nicely with Karto's, and as for me, haven't played the game at all, much like with the original Knights. I'm here to fill a quota, essentially. I did try to get a recording copy, but I've been so busy with Battle Network 6 and other stuff coming up can't really talk about yet, that I just didn't have time to order a copy and play through the game. So this will be my first experience with Journey of Dreams. I've heard less than positive reviews of the whole thing, but I'll agree with you, Kyle. The CGI is nice, at least.
I mean, truth be told, I actually do prefer this over the original game as well, but I think that's mainly because I played the original a few years after it was released. I mean, I played it after the Dreamcast was dead.
Okay.
So I didn't really have that fond connection to it. Games were already coming nearer to this point, so I feel like this is the better game, even though it does still have a lot of flaws.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, son, Daddy's got to go now. You weren't good enough at football. What, did his car just turn into a plane?
Well, this is a nightmare, because if you played Nights into Dreams or watched our playthrough, you will understand that the whole point is that these kids have issues that they need resolving, and so they go into Nightopia to deal with these issues. In the original game, it was pretty much just Clarice was worried that she wouldn't ace her audition, and Elliot was annoyed at the bullies in the basketball thing. In Journey of Dreams, they make it a little bit more complex, I suppose, in the sense of Will's got issues of feeling neglected by his father because he's on this jet-setting lifestyle going around the world for business, and so he feels abandoned by that and doesn't feel like he's really got any friends, and obviously he plays football and that's all good. And then you've got that quite nicely contrasted to Helen, who we will see much later on, and she's got issues with her mother in a very different way. But we'll deal with that when we start Helen's story, which will be 7 parts away, because we're going to do all of Will's story, then all of Helen's story, and it'll be grand.
We actually have 3D walking, like, adventure-style segments.
Oh god, these character models.
Yeah, the shift from, like, CGI to in-game graphics was... I can describe it no other way than drastic.
Yeah, I mean, in the game's defense, this is like start of the Wii quality graphics, because it came out in Japan on December the 13th, 2007.
Okay.
So this is really early Wii stuff, although it didn't come out in Europe or Australia until the start of 2008, but that's only like the space of about a month.
Another change from Nights into Dreams. Characters have voice acting now. I know there was voice acting a little bit, mostly in like Christmas nights, from what I recall.
Yes.
But this is for kids as fuck.
Yeah, Tom, it's better to basically say quote-unquote voice acting.
Okay. You're bringing a nice level of sass to this playthrough, right? What do you think about the voice acting then, Karto?
In a few places, it's okay, especially when we get to Riala.
Uh-huh.
That he has definitely the best voice. Everyone else goes from passable to ear-grating levels.
The sliding scale of NTom.
I mean, the only one that I would disagree with you on that one with is Will. I think, for the most part, Will's voice actor is halfway decent. But I think that might just be because I prefer Will's character to Helen, because Helen annoys me.
Yeah, Helen actually does kind of have the... She gets a shaft in most of the story elements here. She kind of treats it like rubbish.
I mean, also, Helen is a bit of a cow towards Knight, whereas Will's generally up for most stuff. It's a difference in the way that they... Well, it's a difference in their attitudes, but that's something I should probably leave for when we actually get to Helen, because we're with Will now, and that's the important bit.
Yeah, treat the guy properly in his own story, okay? Shit talking when we get to Helen's. Join with me. Become my stand master. I'm just gonna liken everything to JoJo. It's my coping mechanism.
In all honesty, the way they talk about dualizing seems very sexual.
Well, yes, go over and touch Knights. You'll see what I mean.
What the fuck?
That is a direct quote from the game. Which is just... ugh. So, the game plays pretty similarly to the original title. You fly around, and you can paraloop, and it's all loads of fun. But the main reason that I say that this game is better than Into Dreams is... they solved one of the issues that I had with Into Dreams in that they pulled the camera back a bit so you can see more of what's ahead.
Yeah, always a good thing.
And also, because they've shifted the angle slightly more so it's not 2D, you've got more of a view of what's ahead, and that is just so helpful.
This is a really lovely starring area for a tutorial.
Oh, it's gorgeous. This is the Dream Gate, and it's essentially the hub world for the game, so it's where we will be going into levels, and that is about it, but it's also the place for the tutorial, so that's fine by me.
I definitely feel like while the in-game graphics aren't all that impressive, the environments are quite cleverly designed.
Oh god, yes.
That would fall under more art design than technical stuff, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's probably the one thing that Journey Dreams gets so right, is its art direction. Obviously, the graphical quality is not perfect, but then early Wii, if you look at most early Wii titles, they do end up being a little bit like this. But I mean, Knight's character model's great. It's just everything else that's a little bit,
I want to look up early Wii titles, because the console came out in 2006, so this was a year later. There's no excuse for jaggers.
You'd be surprised.
I can easily say this looks better than Sonic 06.
Disagree.
Oh.
I mean, Sonic 06 wasn't even in, like, proper HD, and it still looked better than this. Let's not be stupid, no?
Yeah, I have to say, on a technical level in terms of graphical fidelity, 06 is technically better. It also has superior textures. It's just that the art design in that game was awful, so it doesn't hold together really that well.
I'm just looking up like launch titles here. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, Elebits, which I always wanted to play but never really got round to. Wii Sports, the minigame collection of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and motherfucking Red Steel. Oh, he's JoJo posing. He's doing it.
So yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that got criticised. Well, the voice acting in general was one of the things that gets majorly criticised by most people. NiGHTS' voice in particular, because, I mean, you can probably tell why, because it's really awkward. I mean, NiGHTS' voice actor is a lady called Julissa Aguirre, or something along those lines, whose pretty much main roles have been NiGHTS. She has also done Fina in Skies of Arcadia, and that's really about it in terms of major roles. But obviously what they told us to go for is something that is sort of like a young boy but also a girl, so there's that sense of NiGHTS' gentleness, because obviously if you're having all the characters talking, it's a bit difficult to have NiGHTS be mute. So, considering NiGHTS has got to deliver quite a bit of the story, otherwise it's just left to Owl to do everything, and that's just a bit boring.
To be fair, it's like everything that you watch of this game, Owl does do all the talking.
Yeah.
So you can kind of just make NiGHTS, mute. It would kind of go essentially a Legend of Zelda route.
Oh my god, NiGHTS would be your Navi or something. Well, Navi was anything but mute. That's a pretty poor example.
But yeah, so obviously they tried to get the gender ambivalence into the voice acting. I don't think it quite worked out that well, but I certainly see what they were going for, and I've heard worse voice acting, so I can cope with this. I sort of, in a way, I find bits of the jankiness of the voice acting in this game quite charming.
Well, I think it's just part of the uniqueness of having entirely British voice actors.
Yes. Well, I mean, the thing is that I don't think any of the voice actors are actually British. They're all American doing British accents.
Ugh.
But it gives the game that sort of fantasy charm, and even if it's fake British accents, I'm still quite down with it.
NiGHTS, why don't you just buy a real flute, mate?
Well, because NiGHTS doesn't do that. NiGHTS lives in the world of dreams where you can play a flute that it isn't there.
Oh, okay. Oh my god. The NiGHTopians, they're so much more kawaii rendered this way.
I know, they're adorable!
I didn't mean it in a good way.
Let's mess with them.
Oh shit, shout at the motherfucking hedgehog!
No, this is Riala, who is voiced by Casey Robertson, which is a name that you should probably ever so slightly recognise.
Does seem familiar. Refresh my memory, please, mate.
He voiced Caliburn in Sonic and the Black Knight.
Oh, Jesus. Knave the Hedgehog.
Yeah, he does an excellent job as Riala here. He's just so deliciously evil. It's perfect.
I'm digging the sort of, I wouldn't really call them redesigns, but new costumes for NiGHTS and Riala.
They are really cool.
Just like very ornate.
Hmm.
Well, there goes NiGHTS, slowly drifting away. Thank you, Final Evolution of Rowlet. Couldn't have figured that out on my own. What's our opinion on the Gen 7 starters then? Do you think it's going to be another firefighting case for Litton's Final Evo, Karto?
There was a potential leak.
I said Karto, let him talk first!
There was a leak which did
Richy,
suggest...
I said Karto, let him talk first! Jesus!
And here's where I just say that Pokemon is just Pokemon to me. So.
Oh, okay. I let one of those fucking apathetic Pokemon plebs into my playthrough.
So I will say I will gladly take a Litten. Litten is so cute.
Good.
Litten all the way.
You are redeemed slightly in my eyes. Also, I kind of have to, otherwise no one will make the fucking thumbnail up. Oh, here we go. A nice green-filled area with nice blue skies. I guess this is meant to harken back to one of the areas in the original game, Richie?
Yes, I mean, basically all of the levels in Knight's Journey of Dreams in some way have a relation to the games in the original game.
Okay.
So, Pure Valley here essentially references, I think it's Spring Valley in Knight's Into Dreams. But what's quite interesting is that Will has references to Clarice's levels, and Helen has references to Elliot's levels.
Oh, okay.
So they shifted up the gender balance a little bit, which is nice.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. So how did you find the gameplay, Karto? Did you find it easy to control? Was it fluid? What's going on?
Well, in terms of controls, it's probably best to bring it up now. The game actually did have multiple controller setups. Because you could play it with the Wiimotes on its own, you could play Wiimote sideways with the nunchuck or with the GameCube controller. And I generally preferred the GameCube controller, even though it didn't give you the full, perfect fluidity.
Yeah.
But it definitely, for the most part, it controlled well, but there are a few bits where it felt a bit too stiff.
Clunky, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, I've heard like stories of people shaving off the plastic of the octagonal gate on like whatever controller they were using, probably GameCube, maybe like the Wiimote, well, the Wii nunchuck, as it were, just to try and get that proper movement.
I always found it a lot more comfortable to use the Wiimote nunchuck control scheme. I don't know, it just felt so right, because you control knights with, obviously, the analog stick, and your drill dash button's just right there, which is the A button, and that allows you to do that little drill dash, quite literally.
Yep.
And that just always felt right. I tried the GameCube controller once, but it just didn't work out, and then I tried the Mind Sight control, which is just the Wiimote on its own, where you point at the screen and Knights follows the remote. That didn't feel quite so nice, so I abandoned that immediately.
A lot of people had a problem with the Mind Sight version.
I mean, essentially, the Mind Sight, if you think about it, leads sort of into what Yuji Naka would do with Rodea the Sky Soldier. Obviously, I don't think Yuji Naka had anything to do with Journey of Dreams, but there's an element of using the Wiimote in that fashion that started here and then evolved.
I love the idea of Yuji Naka taking one look at Journey of Dreams and then just piecing out. It is magical golden Ferrari, I'm off, see ya.
Yeah.
I'm off to make a game about fucking Kiwis and whatnot. I finally saw footage of Ivy the Kiwi via like a Game Grumps like one-off, and I gotta say, it seems pretty charming.
It probably is, yeah. I mean, if there's one thing Yuji Naka has always done very well at, it's creating games that have charm to them.
Whoa, look at this, Richie. Some A's. Didn't see this in the previous game.
Well, you see, it's because I'm actually good at Journey of Dreams, or at least I was when I recorded this, because I just played it that much.
Whoa, that was a crazy dissolve to a nightmare.
So the way that this level works is it's a chase mission, and at the end of every chase mission you will have a nightmare and boss. This is Don Ballon, who is a reference to one of the bosses in the original game. I can't remember what her name was.
Wasn't it Puffy?
Puffy, that's the one. It was the big balloon opera singer lady.
Yeah.
He essentially works in the same fashion of you need to get him to the end of the boss arena to kill him. It's just obviously a lot more fantastical and really awesome to look at.
Yeah, the scale's much improved. It's kind of nice.
I mean, I have to say, Don Blonde's a bit of an annoying boss because obviously he can just fly anywhere.
And, you know, also he's a clown, so...
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Adds double to the nightmare factor, though.
But that is the first level done, and that's pretty much the end of the part.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not the end of the part, so we've kind of got to fill space here, but, you know, that's what commentators do, I guess.
A-rank! Hell
oh,
yes!
Yeah, ba-ba-ba-ba! Okay, guys, this has been part 1 of Knights and Journey of Dreams. We hope you will join us next time for part 2 and even beyond that. Bye for now.